will be speaking about the Boeing 737 Max-8 crashes that you might have heard about. Happened about 2 years ago. There were two crashes that killed 350 people. And this is what that plane actually looks like. The reason that this plane crashed has to do with the sensor system of these airplanes. So overall, most airplanes have different types of sensors, like the AOA, which is an angle of attack, which is the angle your plane is flying at. A pitot tube, which shows the airspeed and the altitude. Static port is pressure, just a bunch of different sensors. And the way sensors work on a plane is that there are many sensors of the same kind on one plane. So say there's like 4 angle of attack sensors. The reason they have 4 is because if one shows differently than the other 3, they know that one's malfunctioning. So like they have a system of showing by like process of elimination what's working right, what isn't. And on specifically this plane, they had something called the MCAS, which was a maneuvering characteristic augmentation system, which is somewhat like an autopilot. It has to do with how the plane responds to these failures. So these certain planes did crash because the angle of attack sensor, so it showed the angle was too high. So it thought the plane is going to a stall where it just falls out of the air. So the way you get out of a stall is you nosedive and then pick it back up. So they thought they were going into a stall, and these sensors failed right after takeoff. So then the MCS kicked in and just made the 2 planes nosedive and crashed. So there are 2 sides to this actually. The first would be that's Boeing's fault, the people who made this plane. One just overall thing is that the airframe is completely outdated. It was made around like 1950, 1960, which isn't great for today's standards. There's also an argument of profit before safety. So there are many reports of like engineers talking to news sources about how they wanted to do more testing, more safety for this new software that they created. Like they wanted to actually somewhat train the pilots. But Boeing decided that it was going to cost too much money to have this specialized training to fly their kind of planes. And obviously, well, the software issues, they're the kind of the reason why these planes nosedive and why they crashed in the first place. So next would be the pilots or the sensors' fault. Obviously, the pilots were not trained well to deal with this. Pilots are trained to deal with different specific failures that can happen during flight. And most of the time, it works out fine, they fix them easily. The next will obviously the sensors failed. So it's more like, do you blame the software that read off the sensors, or do you blame the sensors themselves for this failure? And there are only 2 crashes out of like around a year or so that they were flying. So it's hard for Boeing to exactly like tell that this like crazy thing would happen. And there are actually some changes to this field because of these crashes. Right now, the FDA is talking to Boeing about a redesign of this entire plane. And now there's more of a push towards safety over profit. So more companies, especially Boeing now, are choosing to pay more for more safety features instead of trying to make the quick dollar that they can. And now there's a lot more extensive testing for these planes. There's a lot more thought that goes into the safety, less higher ups trying to shut down more expensive things. And well, overall, I think that these crashes were very devastating. They did help this field in a great way for the standards of new safety. Thank you. Are there